So another week and we are back for some more championship transfer rumours. We've got a lot to go over in today's video, and it's crazy to think that next week the league campaign finally starts back up again. I'm interested to know, so far in this transfer window, have you been happy with the business that your club has done? We've seen a real contrast in the league so far. Some teams have really been getting out the checkbook and they've been making some quite big statements with the signs they've made. Other sides have been quite quiet so far actually, and it's definitely going to be an interesting one for the upcoming season for that reason. But without any further ado, let's hop into talking about some of the completed deals which have gone through in the past few days. So we'll start things out with the big move. That is Anthony Knockaert making his move from Brighton to Fulham on a season-long loan with the option to make it permanent at the end of the season. Fulham's attacking lineup now is looking absolutely devastating. They've got Knockaert on the right, Cavallero on the left, and then Mitrovic up front. Is that the best forward three we've ever seen in the championship? Let me know down below. Let me know any other suggestions who you think could be the greatest three of all time, because those three on paper you just think are going to be absolutely devastating, with a player like Tom Cairney in behind as well. Last time Knockaert was in the championship in Brighton's promotion season, he scored 15 goals and got 8 assists, scored some absolute worldies that season as well. A really intelligent player on that right hand side. You're thinking if Fulham can keep it relatively tight at the back this season, they have no excuses not to be up there with that attacking lineup. Bit of a weird one, we saw Charlie Adam completing the move to Reading on a free transfer. Not really too sure what I make of this move. The player's 33 years old, he only made 4 starts for Stoke last season. Reading have got a bit of a job to clear out some of the deadwood and some of the players they've got over 30 at the club at the moment, and then they go ahead and sign Charlie Adam. So that one, a bit of a weird one for me, I'm not sure about that. West Brom completed the signing of Rotherham defender Semi Ajayi for I think less than £2 million. A brilliant bit of business by Bilic there. He started the season out with Rotherham as a centre-back and then transitioned into midfield as the season went on, and actually a really tidy player on the ball. He's got a strike on him as well. He scored quite a few for Rotherham last season and was definitely one of their standout players. I think that's a really underrated bit of business from West Brom there. Very good signing. Goalkeeper Dylan Barnes has signed for QPR, moving from Colchester. Not really too sure what to make of this. Didn't think that this was necessarily a position where QPR needs to look into, but it might suggest that they're looking to loan out one of the keepers they already have there at the club. And Charlton completed the signing of Deji OSHILAJA on a free transfer, the former AFC Wimbledon defender. This was an area where Charlton needed to address after losing some defenders already throughout the summer. At 26, that could go on to be a decent signing for them. But those were some of the completed deals which have gone through in the past couple of days. Now, without any further ado, let's hop into some transfer rumours. Starting it out with a bit of a weird transfer rumour. Newcastle United and Steve Bruce are said to be interested in Preston defender Ben Davies. Now, we've already lost Callum Robinson this summer, so to lose a player like Ben Davies as well would be an absolutely devastating blow for us. I'm not sure how much is actually in these rumours, but the story's been going around for a few days now. Ben Davies is someone who is integral to the system we now play. You know, he's very comfortable on the ball. He's a player who sets the tempo from the back and gets us moving forward. I can see why there would be some Premier League interest in a player like Davies though. He's 23 years old, English, left-footed, which is fairly rare with some centre-backs, and he's very good on the ball as well. I think me, like all Preston fans, would like to see the partnership between Davies and Story having a few more seasons to flourish between them, because I think they complement each other fantastically, and if we were to lose Davies now, I think that would definitely derail us for the season to come. I, for one, can't see him leaving, especially not in this transfer window, but if Newcastle were to come in with a big offer, you know, Preston would definitely be tempted to sell. Looking at Brentford's squad at this stage of the season, I genuinely think that that side could even go on to challenge for automatic promotion. However, a lot of the big stars are being linked away from the club at the moment. First of all, Saïd Benrahma. There's been reports that Aston Villa have submitted a £14 million bid for the winger. The 23-year-old scored 10 goals and picked up 14 assists last season. Obviously, he's already got that relationship with Dean Smith at Villa, previously working with him. Honestly, I'd be surprised if Brentford did accept that. I think that although, you know, 40 million is a lot of money, I think that considering some of the other price tags we've seen go on this summer, I'd value Benrahma at more than that. He's a very tidy footballer who can play anywhere across the forward line. Very skillful, perceptive with his passing, and has got an eye for goal as well. I think he'd go and rip it up in the Premier League. I'd like to see him have another season in the Championship, but with Villa really pursuing him at the moment, you're thinking that a deal probably would happen sooner rather than later if Villa were willing to offer the right amount. As well as that, Aston Villa are also said to be keen on striking Neil Maupay and are said to be up in their interest in him in the next few days. There's also been some reports that Maupay has an offer from France, which he may be tempted by. He had an unbelievable season last time out, scoring 25 goals and picking up 8 assists as well, and just a really horrible player to play against. I think he's got a lot of qualities to his game, and for that reason will be demanding a high price tag if this sale was to be made. The question that I'd ask to Brentford fans is, who would you rather keep hold of, Benrahma or Maupay? Let me know down below. And to carry on piling the misery onto Brentford, we're also seeing Romain Sawyers being linked away from the club at the moment, with West Brom having an opening bid of £2.2 million rejected for the midfielder. I think he's quite a tidy footballer. He picked up 6 assists in the Championship last season, although as good as a player as he is, I feel like Brentford can cope without him with some of the players they brought in midfield already. He's a good player, but I do feel as if he'd be a little bit less of a blow than to lose someone like Mbappé or Benrahma, although if they were to lose all three, they've got a bit of work still to do in this transfer window. And another quite tidy piece of business from West Brom, they're set to complete the signing of Darnell Furlong from Queen's Park Rangers, the right back, for a fee of around about £1.5 million. And West Brom, you know, it took them a little bit of time to get going in this transfer window, but now they've been, you know, getting some players in, and the players they've been linked to as well at this moment in time, I must say, I've been impressed, and their potential starting 11 for next season under Bilic, it's shaping up now. Furlong at 23 years old, I think, will be a nice addition into the back line, and West Brom have also reportedly inquired about bringing Mason Holgate back on a season-long loan. Spent the second half of last season at West Brom, really impressed there. If they were to bring him in, I think their back line will be looking fairly strong going into next season. Cardiff are looking to strengthen their attacking options for this season after losing Kenneth Zohore. They're currently being linked to Scottish striker Eamon Brophy, currently playing for Kilmarnock. The striker is said to be valued at around about £1 million, scored 11 goals last season in the Scottish League. Currently 23 years old, there's already been quite a bit of Championship interest in this guy. And an interesting story that came out the other day, Mark Duffy has been told by Sheffield United that he's free to leave the club this summer after not being offered a new deal by the club. Now, he's not been linked to any Championship clubs yet, but you would imagine if he was to make the move, the Championship would be his next destination. So at 33 years old, you know, he is getting on a little bit, but a really tidy footballer. I think especially going into a side who likes to play maybe a possession-based game, he'd be a really effective player for them next season. So the question that I asked to you is, would you take Mark Duffy at your club? Because, I mean, he was absolutely brilliant for Sheffield United last season. Leeds are possibly still in the market for a new centre-back after losing Pontus Jansson to Brentford. Last week we spoke about the link to James Chester. This week the player that's come up has been Ben Gibson of Burnley. Now, he moved to Burnley a couple of years ago for a fee of, I think, £15 million. Burnley aren't going to want to take too much of a hit on that, and I can't see Leeds paying anywhere near that, you know, for any player really. The only way I could probably see this deal coming off is if it was to be a loan deal. Ben Gibson, you know, he would be a fantastic fit for Leeds in my view, but there has also been Premier League interest with Newcastle also said to be interested in the English defender, and for how realistic this one is, I don't see it happening myself. Although one deal that does look likely is Matt Miazga heading back to Reading on a season-long loan. Spent the second half out on loan there from Chelsea, really impressed in his time there. I think he really did have some decent options at the back now, actually. You know, they'd have Liam Moore, Miazga, and Michael Morrison as well. I think those three, you know, would be a decent bit of competition in there. Really impressed if Reading do get that deal done. They're also being linked with a move for Agiaria as well from Liverpool on a loan deal. Had him on loan for the second half of last season. Reportedly, QPR have had their second bid rejected for Ipswich Town playmaker Alan Judge as well. They put a bid in the other weekend, another one of 450k, which has been turned down by Ipswich Town. I'm not really sure what price tag they'd be willing to budge on. A very talented player. I think he'd rip it up in League One for them. QPR are obviously looking to soften the blow of losing a player like Luke Freeman. I think that, you know, could have some serious consequences on their squad. Judge is a really tidy player, but I'm not sure how much more QPR would actually be willing to spend on him. It's looking like Christian Walton is set to undergo a medical at Blackburn Rovers ahead of a season-long loan there, being loaned out from Brighton. Spent the last 2 seasons on loan at Wigan. A decent bit of business once again from Blackburn. I think their squad's really shaping up now. Obviously, they're looking for the replacement for David Raya after selling him to Brentford. Do I think that Walton is an upgrade on David Raya? I think they're different kinds of keepers, maybe in the sort of technique they go for, but I'm not sure it's an upgrade on him, but probably a suitable replacement for the season. I think that both goalkeepers are at a similar level at this point in time, really. And it's also looking like Tosin Adarabioyo is set to complete a loan move to Blackburn as well, moving from Man City for the season. Spent last season at West Brom. A few Championship clubs have been linked to Scottish striker Ollie Shaw, the 21-year-old, scored 6 goals for Hibs last season in the Scottish League, with Blackburn, Wigan Athletic and Barnsley all the clubs said to be interested. And free agent Fraser Campbell's also another name which has been linked to Blackburn in the past few days. Scored 12 goals and got 6 assists for Hull last season. I think he could still do a job for a number of Championship clubs, really. Perhaps to give them something a bit different going forward, but it's probably not the #1 position where Blackburn are looking to strengthen at this point in time. And Burnley are said to be interested in Leeds goalkeeper Bailey Peacock-Farrell. Leeds wanting around about £4 million for the goalkeeper. Leeds fans, would you be happy to see Peacock-Farrell leave? The 22-year-old had a bit of an up and down season last time, obviously lost his place in the side towards the end of the season when Kiko Casilla came in, but he's still a goalkeeper with a lot of potential, and it'd be interesting to see if he does make that move to Burnley. Swansea are looking into bringing in Chelsea duo Casey Palmer and Jake Clarke-Salter on loan deals for the season. I think the only real memory I have of Clarke-Salter was his time when he was loaned out at Sunderland. Didn't have a brilliant loan spell there a couple of years ago when they were in the Championship. I remember he got sent off against Middlesbrough, and then on his return to the side against my team, Preston, got sent off again. Maybe he's grown as a player since then. It was probably a tough environment for him to go into at Sunderland. He's 21 years old. I'm not too sure what I make of that player, but Casey Palmer I think will be a decent bit of business by Swansea. Swansea. But RAMSELAAR has been linked to Derby County. The PSV attacking midfielders previously worked with Derby's manager Philip Cocu there, and PSV have reportedly said that he is available for a transfer in this window. This one will be quite an ambitious move for Derby. Obviously, they've already brought in Kieran Dowell to soften the blow of losing Mason Mount, but getting this deal over the line will be some statement from Derby, to say the least. I personally don't see it happening, but an interesting rumour nonetheless. Derby fans were also hopeful that Tomori will be coming back on loan next season after really impressing there after his loan spell from Chelsea. However, Chelsea do plan to loan him out again, but they're looking to get him to a Premier League club to test him at a higher level, which would obviously suggest that Derby won't be getting him back for next season. It looks as if Philip Billing could be on his way out of Huddersfield Town and moving to AFC Bournemouth. I think that Huddersfield have put a price tag on them of around about £17 million. That's the figure I've seen quoted. I'd be very surprised if Bournemouth were going to pay that amount for him. I believe the player's training with the youth team at this point in time as well. He's a player who's got a lot of potential, but I think his attitude has been questioned over the past few months. I think at this point a move would be the best thing for the player and the club, really. And the next one is a very interesting story with several championship clubs chasing the signature of free agent Ross McCormack. The question I asked to you guys, would you take a chance at this stage in his career on Ross McCormack? Obviously, we all know about the stories at Aston Villa. He had an absolute disaster of a time there. He had several loan spells out, some more successful than others. His time at Melbourne probably being the best, where he scored 14 goals in 17 appearances. And the clubs mentioned in the conversation so far have been Charlton, Reading and Wigan Athletic. About 4 years ago probably, he was one of the most prolific strikers in the Championship. He had a season at Leeds where he scored 28 goals. Both seasons with Fulham he was comfortably getting into double figures, but then he made his move to Villa and his career has been on a downward trajectory ever since. So the question I asked to the clubs being linked, would you take a chance on Ross McCormack? Let me know. Norwich winger Ben Marshall looks to be on his way out of Norwich City after his move there hasn't really worked out for him. Hull are one of the sides who have been mentioned in the conversation as interested in the winger, perhaps coming in as backup into the squad, or maybe even a replacement if someone like Grishit-Skillbone was to leave in the next couple of weeks. And it looks as if Irish defender Sean McLaughlin is on his way to Hull City as well to bolster their options in their back line. I remember a few weeks ago Preston were mentioned in the conversation for this one, obviously with Preston having that relationship with the Irish League, but Hull look to have got this one all but over the line. Another deal which appears to be quite close is Ben Osborne making his move from Nottingham Forest to Sheffield United. We spoke about this transfer a few weeks ago. I think this one makes sense for both clubs really. If Forest get a decent fee for a player like Osborne, Sheffield United get a player who's a better fit into their system opposed to at Forest. I think that one will work out for both parties. Millwall have launched a bid for Wycombe defender Jason McCarthy, quite a diverse defender, can either play as a right back or a centre back. At 22 years old he might not be a bad option. I think the bid is believed to be around about 450k. And Millwall have also been linked to Derby County goalkeeper Scott Carlson, potentially bringing them in on a loan deal for the rest of the season. Now I think that would be a really good bit of business by Millwall actually. It would appear as if they're still in the market for a goalkeeper. A few weeks ago we saw them being heavily linked with the move for Bill Kowski, the Ipswich goalkeeper, but I think he went on to fail his medical at the club. I don't think that would be a bad piece of business by Millwall, although I think Derby wouldn't mind keeping hold of him. And Sheffield Wednesday have been linked to Rotherham United defender Clarke-Robertson. Rotherham fans hopeful that the defender will stay at the club, although probably the more pressing matter for Sheffield Wednesday at the moment will be actually finding a new manager. I'm not sure who's in charge of transfers there at Wednesday, but I think that that's got to be their #1 priority at this point in time. And Wednesday fans, let me know down below, who would you like to see come in as the replacement for Steve Bruce? As of recording the video, Chris Coleman is currently the favourite for the new job. Would you be happy with that one? Let me know down below. But guys, there you have it. That will now wrap it up for today's episode of the Transfer Rumour Roundup. If you've seen any other rumours that we didn't mention today, make sure to get them in the comments down below. Also, let me know how happy have you been with your club's business with the league starting back up again next week. I'm very interested to know. But apart from that, thanks very much for watching. If you did go in to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you subscribe for a bit of regular championship content. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.